Hey guys, it's Shaggy FPV here. Something different today because DJI sent me this new O3 Airunit and they asked me to do a review about it. Now, I don't normally do that, but I think this is such a significant product with some upsides and downsides from my perspective that I do want to share with you guys. So yeah, here we go. I will try to keep it brief, but you can always skip to the next chapters in the bottom if you're interested in a specific topic. First, if you don't know what I do, I'm a professional FPV pilot. I used to do drone racing in DRL in the USA, but then switched to full-time cinematic FPV. I do that with my colleagues at the Dutch Drone Gods. So the kind of shoots we do is normally everything from indoor tours to action sports to racing cars to TV shows, anything in between. So this is the perspective I will be telling you about. I will not go over all the features, so probably if you really want to go in depth on everything that's in this unit, you can go to Nerd FPV channel, for example, or some other reviewer that will go probably way more in depth than me. I will tell you about my perspective on is this useful for my professional productions and shoots. So when I got this, I expected it to be a replacement for the Airunit, which is like massive. We only use that for cinelifters because 5-inch and smaller just doesn't fit nicely. But it turns out this thing is just as tiny as the old Vistas, which is a big advantage because now I can actually build it into our little sub 250 frames. This is the God mode, which we almost always use on shoots. We almost never use the 5-inch anymore. We either do cinelifters or this sub 250. So that was very useful for me. I was planning to use this on a lot of shoots just to get it through spaces, to compare the GoPro with the Avada, see how it works. But I ran into this issue already. It doesn't have any video out yet. So there's no way to connect a smart controller, no way to connect a Raspberry Pi with the Cosmos Streamer firmware, and it doesn't work yet with the DJI Fly app, which it's supposed to be working with. I think all of those options are coming out at some point. But so far it doesn't work yet. So for our shoots, this is critical. We need something next to us to spot for us, or we have clients that want to watch a shot. We have TV shows who want to have an SDI or HDMI out to put it on their screens, maybe do a live stream. None of that was possible. So every shoot I took it in the past few weeks, I couldn't really use it, except for some random shots in between where I could do something safe that our spotter didn't need to watch. So this is quite a shame. I can't really get you many shots yet of this thing in action, but I have used it on one occasion during a shoot and on some random flights in the park next to my house. So that's what I'm basing this on. So the big feature in this unit is the onboard recording. So you can get 4K recording from this little Airunit from the same camera you're flying on. So actually exactly the same as the Avada is doing, but in a super tiny package, which in theory is absolutely great. If you want to build this drone and you don't want to have a naked GoPro yet, or you're just practicing or starting out, you want something more than an Avada, or get sub 250, this is a very good solution because you can just take the whole GoPro off and have a lighter unit. I can also imagine some special projects where you want to have a super light drone where the GoPro is turning out to be the bulk of the weight. And in that case, you can just use the Airunit, record with that. If that's good enough quality for you, then that works out perfectly. So for me, first of all, it will not replace the GoPro. First of all, just the quality is just not as good. I actually like the lens profile, how it looks. It's a little bit less field of view. There's a Cinelog feature, which is like flat color, no color profile, which actually looks nicer than the GoPro. But there's no 25 FPS option at the moment. So you have to film in 50 FPS, which is strange because we do a lot of production where we just have to film 25 FPS 1/50 shutter, which is not possible here. It's a little bit less light sensitive. As you can see, the O3 unit is a lot darker than the GoPro, even though I boosted the exposure in post a little bit to make them comparable. It also has a lot less field of view than the GoPro by default. Besides having no 4x3 option in 4K, you have to go back to 2.7K to have a 4x3 option, where the GoPro has an 8x7 option on 5K, which is a big advantage, of course. Yeah, so just a lot less options in general. It's still very good considering this is just an extra feature inside the video transmitter, but it's just not a GoPro replacement for us yet. So that's point one, where for us it's not yet usable. I can see some situations where it is useful to have this recording for like beginners or people who don't want to have the GoPro on there yet. They're just starting out doing shoots. Then it might be a very good option. But for professional shoots, it's just a no-go yet. Second problem with this is that you are flying on the same settings as you are recording with if you're using this as a recording device. The problem with that in dark situations, you don't want to push it over 400 ISO because then the image gets a bit grainy. But if you're flying on that same video, you're not going to see anything in the dark. If we're flying a festival in a dark tent, we want to have our FPV cam set to super bright so we can see all the details where, you know, the landing area where we need to go, or some places that when the light goes down a little bit, we can still see where we're going. I want to have the recording device set to something darker, which, you know, has good exposure for the lights, the spotlights on the stage and stuff like this. But on FPV gallery, you still want to see everything around it, which you don't want to see on the recording itself. So dark situations like festivals are definitely not a good place to use this as a recording device. But even for outdoor shoots, sometimes when we have a lot of sun, we want to have an ND filter to get that nice motion blur. In the video in the goggle will also have a lot of motion blur, which kind of looks nice, but it's not always ideal. If you have to respond to something quickly or you turn around quickly, everything just blurs together and that can make you lose orientation, or it's just less ideal to fly with. Besides that, it has 30 millisecond latency, which is about the same as the Polar unit, I believe. The Nebula camera has 20 milliseconds, I think. Normally it's like 22. 30 is still okay, you can still fly with it, but for faster shoots like action sports and really close-up stuff, it's less ideal. You really want to keep the latency as low as possible. I definitely notice it. So yeah, that's another little segment of shoots that's not where this is not really suited for. So not all positive so far, but one area where I think this unit will be a very significant upgrade is live streaming. So the quality that comes out of this camera is now 1080p, and it looks very crisp. Like the lens profile is really nice, and you have all these options of setting the shutter, color profiles, etc., which you normally also set on the GoPro. But now you get this very crisp image live back from this unit through your goggles. At least as soon as they release a firmware upgrade where video out is actually supported, which is not right now. But potentially this is a very good solution for that. Also, the range on this has gotten a lot better. Like the Avada has been tested like this before. It has a lot more range of the old normal air units. And this unit supposedly goes just as far. I've tested it a little bit. It looks like it will. So that's another big advantage for this. And for our shoot specifically, this can mean that we can do longer one-shot tours without doing something difficult like rolling around on a chair to different locations or having a video repeater. And we can just go through buildings a bit further than we were going before. So that's also a major advantage of this new system. So in conclusion, it's a insane innovation from DJI once again. Getting all these features and the high quality video and the extended range in such a small package. That's one thing. Will I use it for everything? No, not yet. I need my video out first. First get me some software to have video out. That's absolutely critical for our work. Will I use the recording? Probably not at all. Maybe for some special projects in the future where I can't fit a GoPro in a certain drone. But otherwise I will not use that feature. But as soon as we have that video out released by DJI, I will definitely build one more of these little God modes and a 5-inch and maybe a cine lifter with this system in it. So just to have that extra range and live stream capability which is kind of a game changer anyway for us. Even if we don't use the recording for this, and I don't like the latency, it's still a big game changer to have that range and this quality for live streams in such a small unit.